Hey guys, it's Simeon. This is Pro Wrestling Unlimited as we are here on what's the date today? It is the 5th now of January 2020. I have a question for you guys before I get going. Are we supposed to say 2020 or 2020? Let me know in the comments below or in the live chat if you're here in the live chat. But I digress. Give me 1 second. Turn this light up. All right. So tonight was Wrestle Kingdom. It was night 2, and I thought that night 1 was the better night, to be completely honest. I thought night 2 was a hell of a night, but the bigger matches to me were all on night 1. And I think maybe that could have been that night 2, a lot of these guys, especially, Kota Ibushi, Naito, Jay White, Okada, they're all tired and beat up from night 1. That could have been the thing. But either way, there were 3 matches, maybe 4 matches over these 2 days that you can literally say top 5 matches of the year. That those 4 matches, 2 from last night and 2 from tonight, that you can probably say, hey, those are top 5 matches of 2020. I'm only 5 days in. So with not many of you in the live chat at this moment yet, it is 3:02 Pacific, which means it's 3, 4, 5, 6 a.m. Eastern time. But let's see who is here with us so far. We do have Love Memes and Trains. We have Niloy Gua, Kenny Wilson, Dead Panda. What's going on, everybody? Let's talk about this show that I think it went, I'm going to do the math, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, roughly 5.5 hours. It's about the same time as last night's show. I want to get something right off the bat out there. So I see a lot of people saying that Naito Okada was their match of the weekend. And actually, to be completely honest, my match of the weekend was Okada Ibushi. I thought Okada Ibushi was a little bit better, to be completely honest. But everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That's just my one opinion. You guys can have a different opinion. So let's jump right into it. On the pre-show, we did a Never Openweight 6-Man Tag Team Championship Gauntlet match. First match saw Ishii, Yoshihashi, and Robbie Eagles defeat Fale, Chase Owens, and Yujiro Takahashi. Ishii, not Yoshihashi, what am I talking about? Why is my mind a blank right now? Chaos. But we saw Chaos defeat Desperado, Taichi, and Kanemaru of Suzuki-gun. LIJ then came out, Evil, Shingo, and Bushi. They defeated Chaos. And then in the end, LIJ became the new 6-man tag team champions when they defeated the current champions, Toru Yano, Ryusuke Taguchi, and Togi Makabe. Then we moved on to the main card. And on the main card, we had the first match was the Liger retirement match. It was Liger and Naoki Sano with Fujiwara in their corner, Yoshiaki Fujiwara, I think that's how you say it. And they took on Ryu Lee and Hiromu Takahashi. And the crowd they were into everything because it was Liger's last match. So they were just into the whole thing. They were up for all of it that went down. Liger and Hiromu locked up early. Hiromu broke clean against the ropes. They tied up again. This time Liger was the one to get the clean break. Liger stretched Hiromu with a surfboard, then locked on a Romero special. Hiromu feigned tagging out. Liger turned his back, and Lee and Hiromu kicked Sano off the apron and double-teamed Liger. Lee tagged in and hit a one-legged drop kick for a 2. Hiromu tagged in and used a double sledge and a Fujiwara armbar on Liger's right arm. Liger fired up with a Shote palm strikes. He then hit a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker on both Hiromu and, I want to say Dragon Lee, but he's not Dragon Lee anymore. Ryu Lee. I'll just call him Lee. Sano then got the tag and hit a missile drop kick and then a double drop kick on both Lee and Hiromu. Lee and Sano traded strikes for a little bit here. Lee hit a pump knee strike. Sano hit a lariat. Hiromu and Liger tagged back in and exchanged forearm shots. Hiromu scored a knockdown and taunted Liger. Liger at one point teased a Liger bomb, but Lee saved Hiromu. Hiromu, Liger, and Sano rolled to the floor. Lee tried a tope gonio, but hit Hiromu by mistake. Back inside the ring, Liger hit a powerbomb for a 2 count. Hiromu hit a German suplex, but Liger no-sold it. Then, he hit a shote and a brainbuster. He went for the cover, but Lee broke up the pin. Sano jumped in. Lee kicked him to the floor, then took him out with a suicide dive. Back in the ring, Hiromu hit a Falcon Arrow for a 2 count. Lee and Hiromu then double-teamed Liger with kicks and knee strikes. Hiromu covered for a 2. Hiromu then hit a Death Valley driver into the turnbuckle pad. He teased a time bomb, but Liger rolled him up for a near fall. Liger then hit a shote. Hiromu tried a shote. Hiromu ducked it and hit a lariat. Then the time bomb, pinning Jushin Thunder Liger. And soon as that referee counted 3, 1, 2, 3, the entire building went dead silent. And then New Japan World broke. So I was watching on Fight TV, so I didn't have any issues. But apparently, soon as this first match ended, a lot of people started having issues with New Japan World where either the stream started glitching and then eventually went out, or their stream just went out altogether right away. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what the problem was. They said that it was an overload issue with more people than they expected trying to get on the English feed. I know some people were able to jump over to the Japan feed, the Japanese feed, and get on there. Some were not able to, so they fixed it eventually. Like, it was fixed through like half to 3/4 of the way through the next match. Some said it took them about 45 minutes to finally have their end working. So, again, I was watching on Fight TV. So I didn't have any issues myself. Afterwards, Hiromu Takahashi stood in the ring as basically Liger didn't get up for a while. Finally, he did get up, and Ryu Lee kind of hugged him and thanked him for everything. He got on the microphone, thanked everybody for being there, thanked everybody about being around for, as long as his career has been and allowing him to do what he's done. And then tomorrow at New Year's Dash, they will be doing I guess you could say, retirement ceremony. So then we had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. It was El Hijo Fantasmo and Taiji Ishimori defending against Sho and Yo Roppongi 3K. So early on, Sho and Yo hit stereo topes at the opening bell. While Ishimori recovered on the floor, Sho and Yo helped hit Fantasmo with strikes. Fantasmo then bailed to the floor to regroup with Ishimori. Back inside, Fantasmo used a distraction from Ishimori to hit a dropkick on Sho. All 4 men brawled on the floor. Ishimori and Fantasmo took over from there. Ishimori hit a sliding German and used a neck crank. Fantasmo and Ishimori then used their comedy back rake offense. Fantasmo hit a Quebrada back rake. Fantasmo then hit a springboard moonsault Quebrada suicide dive frog splash combination. Yeah, all of that in one for a 2 count. Let me say that again. Springboard moonsault Quebrada suicide dive into a frog splash combination for a 2 count on Sho. Ishimori and El Fantasmo used their tandem crotch stand on Sho. Yo finally jumped in and hit some strikes, but soon found himself tied in a tree of woe, as well as the double crotch stand. Sho ducked a springboard attack and hit a spear. At one point, Fantasmo cut off Yo with a flying forearm. Yo then finally came back and sent Ishimori up and over out of the ring. Back in the ring, Ishimori hit a handspring kick. Fantasmo and Sho tagged in. Sho hit a rolling German on Fantasmo. Then a double German to both opponents. Fantasmo used an inside cradle for a 2. Ishimori hit a jumping knee into an airplane spin neck breaker for a 2 count. A little bit later on, Ishimori took the referee. El Phantasmo then grabbed one of the tag belts, thinking, okay, ref's down, I can do this. Use the belt, cheat to win, keep our titles, but no. You got to remember, old Rocky Romero at ringside to help his boys, and what did he do? He helped his boys. Phantasmo tried a low blow on Sho, but Sho was wearing a cup. Sho and Yo then hit the 3K on Ishimori. Sho hit the shock arrow on El Phantasmo into a dragon suplex from Yo. Yo then hit a double stomp on Phantasmo while Sho held him in a shock arrow position. Sho then hit shock arrow for the pin and a title change as we have new Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions in Sho and Yo, Roppongi 3K. So after the match, they were celebrating with, I guess, their manager, Rocky Romero. Yo reveals that he also had a cup, and Rocky says, it was all my idea. It was sneaky style. Yeah, cool. Very cool. I thought it was a really fun match. You know, the opening match was what it was. It was Liger. The crowd was going to be into that no matter what. But this match was just fun. Great junior heavyweight action. And then we go into something that's completely different. It was Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sonata with the Rev Pro, a British Heavyweight Championship on the line. This was a great match for what it was. Just a great, well-paced, technical match that I think was different than anything else we got all weekend. They started off with some mat work. They traded a series of cradles. They traded a cross-arm choke and a variety of escapes and counters, reversing the hold. Sabre kicked Sonata off, then rolled to the floor. They traded Cobra Twist. Sonata used a rolling cradle for a 2. He then went for a standing moonsault, but Sonata moved ever so slightly. Then Sabre then trapped Sonata on his landing. Sabre trapped the left arm, and he used an arm bar, but Sonata forced a rope break. Sonata tried a dragon screw, but Sabre blocked it and went for a Zack driver. Sonata blocked that, but Sabre kicked his arm and set him up in an octopus. Sonata eventually escaped the octopus using a skull end to set up a moonsault attempt. Sonata missed the moonsault, but Sabre hit a running PK. They then traded some uppercuts here. Sonata missed a springboard attack. They traded a series of cradles for a near fall. Sonata hit a moonsault into the skull end. Sabre then slid into a European clutch for a near fall. Give me 1 second, guys. Fix my light here. There we go. Sonata then grabbed the skull end out of nowhere and only got a near fall off of it. Sabre reversed and hit a Cobra Twist. Sonata pulled away and tried another skull end. They traded clutch attempts while Sabre ended up in a European clutch for the victory. Zack Sabre Jr. retains his Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship. I thought it was an okay match. I really never really got too into it, to be honest. And same with the next match. I never really got into Jon Moxley versus Juice Robinson. I just thought it was an okay match. You know, this was probably out of their previous matches the lowest of the 3 matches that I've seen with them. There was nothing inherently wrong with the match, you know, but there was nothing really like, oh man, this is great, go check it out. It was just the 2 had a match, and they knew what they were getting to, or at least Moxley knew that I got to get through this match to get to the big angle afterwards. So they never told us that it was no disqualification match, but Moxley grabbed chairs like right at the beginning. Moxley grabbed some chairs during his entrance. Juice hit a plancha on Moxley early. Juice then dropped Moxley on the barricade, then hit a slam on the floor. Moxley posted Juice. then went under the ring for some plunder. Moxley set up a chair. He teased an X-Plex on the chair, but Juice escaped and hit a drop toe hold on the chair. Moxley sat in the chair, and Juice hit a cannonball on the floor. They climbed inside the ring, and Moxley whipped Juice up and over the top rope. He then used the chair on the floor. So I guess this was a no disqualification match, even though it was never said. Back in the ring, Moxley used a series of short punches to the head, perhaps designed to open Juice the hard way. Moxley hit a backbreaker, and then used a sliding lariat to get a near fall. They traded chops. Moxley bit Juice on the right elbow. Juice hit a spinebuster and a lariat. Juice hit the juice box, then stacked Moxley up on a powerbomb for a 2. Juice hit jabs. Moxley ducked a left hand of God and used a figure 4. Juice then reached the bottom rope, and Moxley had to break it. Moxley posted Juice's left leg and then used a figure 4 around the post. Moxley placed a chair around Juice's neck and teased a baseball swing from another chair. Juice blocked and hit a left hand of God into the chair. He sold it like he may have, once again, broken his hand. Back inside the ring, Juice hit a superplex, maintained the hold of it on the landing. He then hit a jackhammer for a 2. Juice tried the Pulp Friction, but Moxley blocked it into a German suplex. Juice hit a German of his own. Moxley hit a pair of lariats. Moxley went for a Death Rider. Juice blocked and used a roll-up for a near fall. They tried some strikes here while they were standing. Moxley then hit a Regal knee. Juice answered with 2 lariats. No, 2 left hands of God. Juice went for the Pulp Friction, but Moxley reversed it into a Death Rider, kept the grip, stood him up, hit another Death Rider, and pinned Juice Robinson to retain the North American Championship. Well, not the North American Championship, the United States Championship. So Moxley is in the ring after the match. He grabs the mic, says he's a gambler, does his little spiel, and then you hear the announcers get crazy for half a second, and you hear nothing, because apparently the music that was playing for who came out is not allowed to play, and I guess in the U.S. or something. It happens on New Japan shows. So we're sitting here why are you excited? What's happening? Who's coming out? What the heck? What the heck? And then finally the camera changes to up on the ramp, and you see Minoru Suzuki up there coming out. And I'm just take my money now, please. Take my money now, please. Suzuki versus Jon Moxley. Yes, please. So Minoru Suzuki appeared wearing his tracksuit. On his way down to the ring, he shedded the tracksuit. He climbed inside the ring and squared off with Moxley, and the two began to trade blows instantly. Suzuki grabbed Moxley and put him in a rear naked choke. He then hit him with a Gotch-style pile driver. Suzuki cut a promo after the pile driver. He asked Moxley who he thinks he is picking a fight with him. Well, actually, you picked the fight. He said that he's the real king of pro wrestling, and if Moxley wants to fight, Suzuki will end up the king of the United States. I thought this was great. Last night, after Moxley's match with Lance Archer, he went backstage and did the whole media stuff, and he said, hey, I'm here in New Japan for more than just this title. I want to go big game hunting. And a lot of people thought that meant that he wanted to challenge the world champion, the IC champion, the double gold champ. But I guess big game hunting just means taking on bigger opponents than he's had so far. And, well, one of the biggest opponents you could take on, Minoru Suzuki. So Suzuki left. Moxley came too. He started going crazy on one of the young boys. They put it up on commentary oh, you may think that's still Suzuki. The angle was just phenomenal. The match between Moxley and Juice, 2.5 star match, if that. Maybe 2-star match. It was nothing special, but the angle, 12-star angle. Because it was just, it hyped everything up. So next up, we had the Never Openweight Championship match, Hiroki Goto versus Kenta. I thought this was a really, really well 15-16 minute match. This is exactly what you would expect from a big-time Wrestle Kingdom, Tokyo Dome, never openweight championship match. It's the hard-hitting, the constant action that almost never stops throughout the entire match, the big slams, just all the stuff that we've grown to know and expect from the, I guess you could say, never openweight title match at Tokyo Dome. This is exactly it. So Goto went after Kenta before the bell even rang. He used strikes and had great intensity, and probably blew himself up a little bit too early, as he went for a chin lock in the middle of the ring after their brawl, or actually kind of in the midst of their brawl to catch his breath, it seemed like. Kenta responded with a running boot, and the action spilled to the outside. Kenta hit a stiff kick and then a DDT on the ramp. Goto beat the count to get back in right at about 19. Kenta used 3 knee lifts. He did some crowd work. He hit a couple of kicks. After some more crowd work, Kenta used a chin lock, then another knee lift. Goto got some offense in here, some hard elbows, which actually dropped Kenta. Kenta sold it like a flash knockout. He hit like 2 or 3 elbows, and that last one, Kenta was just like, poof, right down. Flash knockout. Actually, really well done. Goto then used a side suplex to get a 2 count. Kenta dropped Goto throat across the top rope and then used a clothesline off the top for a 2 count. Goto used a misdirection spot and hit a Ushigoroshi. Kenta used game over. Goto forced a break here. Kenta hit a Shibata dropkick in the corner. And then he used a double stomp off the top for a near fall. Goto blocked a knee. Kenta hit a big, huge just knee strike here for another near fall. Kenta then went for the Goto sleep. Goto blocked it and hit a hard-looking headbutt. Each no-sold their big strikes coming up here. Goto hit a spinning lariat for a 2 count. Kenta caught a mid-kick and hit a hard palm strike. Goto then responded with a slap of his own to the face of Kenta. Kenta went for a Ushigoroshi, but Goto reversed into the GTW. Goto then hit the GTR and pinned Kenta to become the new Never Openweight Championship. Or to be the new Never Openweight Champion. And now we know why Kenta needed to drop that title, but also Goto becoming the new champion. I didn't think, not knowing at this time where Kenta was going by the end of the show, I still thought that Goto winning was the right move, because the whole thing with this match was Goto's best friend since high school has been Katsuyori Shibata. Goto, over the last 8 months, has been training with Shibata to get in some of the best shape that he's ever been in. Well, earlier in the year, last year, we had some angles with Kenta and Shibata. Now, Shibata can never, ever wrestle a match again, but he was cleared to do these little angles. And so not only was this, Goto wanting to get at Kenta, taking the title and getting the title back, but it's also he wanted that revenge for his friend, Katsuyori Shibata. So in the end, Goto winning ties everything up with the Kenta Shibata stuff as well. So that's why I thought Goto winning, not knowing where Kenta was going by the end of the show, was the right move. Then what we see at the end of the show, super right move. Again, the match was okay. It was better than the Moxley Juice match, better than the Sabre Jr. Sonata match, but still just an okay match. Chris McNutt in the chat says, what ages for wrestlers to retire? There's no set age for a wrestler to retire. I mean, if you really look at it, we see wrestlers, especially in Japan, wrestle well into their 60s. Back in the day, here in America, a lot of wrestlers would be done by 40, 45. Nowadays, 40, they're just hitting their stride. Also, back in the day, I want to say like 20 years ago, it was uncommon to see a women's wrestler go past the age of 30. Now we've got plenty of women in WWE alone that are 34, 35, 36 years old. So there's no actual set age that you have to say, oh, you can't wrestle anymore. You got to hang it up. You can't do it. You're too old. There's none of that anymore. Because Vince McMahon tried to do that back in the day. But now you look at things. You've got Jericho at 48 years old, 47 years old. You've got R-Truth at 46 years old. You got Rey Mysterio at 45 years old. You've got Randy Orton and a bunch of other guys at 39. AJ's 42. So there's no clear age on, once you hit this age, you got to retire. Like I said, back in the early mid-90s, Vince used to try to put that age at like 35. Now we know 35, you're just barely hitting your stride between 35 and 40 nowadays. So going forward, we had Jay White versus Kota Ibushi. I thought this match was really, really, really good. To me, this is when the show started rolling. This is when the show really, really kicked off for me, and I was into it. Because all the other stuff, I was like, good matches, but nothing that really, really got me into it. So, Ibushi avoided Geto's distraction early and hit White with some strikes. White came back and knocked Ibushi off the apron. Ibushi crashed into the barricade and slid down between the ring and the platform and the floor. And it looked like, I thought Ibushi might have died here. Not figuratively, not literally. He was just out the way he crashed into the barricade. White then sent Ibushi into the barricade again. He wasn't letting White get his bearings about him. He just wanted to keep beating on him and beating on him and beating on him. Finally, he threw Ibushi chest first into the railing. Back in the ring, White used a chin lock. Ibushi responded with a snap Rana and a plancha. Ibushi hit a springboard dropkick, power slam, and a second rope moonsault for a 2. White may have some of the best selling I've seen in a while. It's either that or he broke a rib, because he was selling his rib section, his rib area, rib cage. Great. Here, off of I think it was a crossbody from Ibushi, where Ibushi just landed super hard. White then hit a DDT and used a Death Valley driver to get a 2. White hit a series of uppercut forearms on Ibushi. Ibushi then responded with a bastard driver. They traded a series of hard strikes. Ibushi went into his no-sell mode like we saw last night with Okada. And he dropped White with just a massive lariat. White then hit a complete shot and followed up with a deadlift German. White hit a Blade Runner, but then used the Kiwi Crusher and got a near fall. They fought on the top. White teased the superplex, but he dropped Kota Ibushi chest first on the top rope. White then hit a top rope Uranagi for a 2. White hit a sleeper suplex. Ibushi responded with a V-trigger. Ibushi teased a Bomye, but faked it and grabbed a wrist lock instead, and then hit a bridging German for a 2. Ibushi then hit the Bomye and got a near fall off of it. Ibushi teased the Kamagoye. White teased a Blade Runner. Ibushi hit a lariat. White threw Ibushi into the referee, who took a bump to the floor, and the first thing I thought was exactly what happened. Where's Geto with a chair? And what happened about a minute after the referee fell to the floor? Here's Geto in the ring with a chair. So Geto jumps in. He used a chair on Ibushi, but Ibushi just no-sold it. Geto hit some kicks, and Ibushi no-sold it. Geto then hit a palm strike on Geto. Geto basically just what's the word I'm looking for? Just dead weighted off that palm strike and fell to the outside. Ibushi then hit a huge Kamagoye on White and then used a sit-out last ride. With no ref, there was no one to pin. And he just sat there. Counted 4, counted 5. Finally, he's like, oh, fuck, there's no ref. What do I do? There are all these guys at ringside checking on the referee. Finally, he goes out, just grabs the ref, throws him back in the ring. Ibushi hit another Kamagoye, but Geto pulled the ref out of the ring and then found some brass knucks. Here's my thing. This is not just a New Japan thing. This happens everywhere. Excuse me. How come when the referee gets pulled out by the manager or whoever's at ringside, he doesn't do anything about it 90% of the time? He just goes, huh, what happened there? I didn't slide backwards, did I? That's what it makes it seem. Because You know who's at ringside. You know who just pulled your ass out of the ring. Ref, do something about it. Whether you call it a disqualification or you kick his ass out. But no, most of the time, nothing happens other than the ref gets pulled out of the ring. They look around. They go, what happened? Oh, I don't know. And then they jump back in. Action just continues. So the ref gets pulled out of the ring. And Ghetto pulls out some brass knucks. White threw a chair just right into Ibushi's face. Just like right here. Just twack. And it sounded hard and stiff. And Ibushi didn't block it. He just took it. Ghetto then hit Ibushi with the knuckles. Ghetto revived the referee while White used a straight jacket Bloody Sunday DDT, then hit the Blade Runner and pinned Kota Ibushi. So I don't know what's going on with Ibushi, but the story is that this is the third year in a row that he can't pick up a victory at Wrestle Kingdom. Can't remember who he faced 2 years ago. Let me know in the chat or in the comments. But I know last year he lost to Will Ospreay. That was a brutal match. Then he had these two matches this year. So the whole thing right now is, and I think I know where this could be leading to, but the whole thing right now is Ibushi can't win at Wrestle Kingdom. Now with Naito, as I'm going to talk about later, they capped off a 2-year story that started 2 years ago at Wrestle Kingdom and capped up tonight. So I think they're doing something similar, or they could be doing something similar with Kota Ibushi, where they're going to go a couple of years where it's like he just can't win. He can't win at the Tokyo Dome. And then when he finally does, it's going to really, really mean something. And I know a lot of people are like, you should have put that title. You should have had Kota Ibushi go over, be the double champion. No. I'm going to talk later why Naito's the number one choice for that. And I'm going to talk, I guess I could say it now. Ibushi's got time. Ibushi can wait a year or two before he gets that big win at the Tokyo Dome. For what I think they're doing, like I stated, a storyline that's going to overarch over a couple of years. It's already on 3 years now. We're going to have another year or two probably of he can't win at the Tokyo Dome. But when he does, it's going to be that biggest win of his career. So I think that's where they're going with Kota Ibushi and him finally getting, the big gold belt, you want to call it. So then it was time. Jericho Tanahashi. They played a video where Tanahashi dressed as the Painmaker, and he mocked Jericho's video that he did to challenge him. He pretended to be Jericho in a band. So it's actually kind of funny. I don't know exactly what Tanahashi was saying in the video because there was no translation, so it just seemed funny to me and wacky. Maybe would have been better if I knew what he was saying. So Jericho came out to the ring as himself, the Painmaker, Chris Jericho. They made a lot of references to AEW early on in the match and during his entrance, saying that he's the All Elite Wrestling World Champion, saying that a title shot is on the line, this and that. And at first you think Jericho didn't bring the belt with him. Jericho don't got the title. Jericho gets in the ring, takes his scarf off, takes his jacket off, takes his shirt off, and there we go. Boom. He's got the belt under his shirt. Daniel Valos, you're correct. Thank you. Wrestle Kingdom 12 2 years ago. Kota Ibushi. Did he win against Cody? I thought he lost. And I'm pretty sure on commentary, they also said that he's now lost 3 years in a row at the Tokyo Dome. Give me 1 second. I'm going to look that up real fast. Kota Ibushi versus Cody. Wrestle Kingdom 12 results. I was getting 12. I was getting 13. Results. Why do I keep getting Wrestle Kingdom 13? No, I don't want to talk to my phone. This is not working for me. I'm going to give up here probably. Let me see. Right here. Here we go. Wrestle Kingdom 12 results. I could be wrong. Kota Ibushi did win against Cody. Okay, so it's only a 2-year thing then. So Kota Ibushi's whole thing is he hasn't won in 2 years now at the Tokyo Dome. Okay, cool. So we got Chris Jericho versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. And this match I thought was good, not great. And I almost expected more from it. So they traded some holds and taunts on the onset of this match. Tanahashi mocked Jericho's cocky pin taunt. Jericho hit a springboard dropkick, and the action spilled to the outside. Jericho sent Tanahashi into the barricade, and then up and over. Jericho hit a DDT on the English announce table. He did a great job of protecting Tanahashi's head and neck here, because they had a really bad fall as the table didn't break, and they just spilled right over. Jericho continued the assault in the ring with a knee drop off the top. Jericho played air guitar a couple of times, taunting Tanahashi. He then climbed to the top rope, did more air guitar stuff before hitting a high fly flow. Well, attempting a high fly flow and missing it. Tanahashi then hit a sling blade. Jericho dodged a charge into the corner, and Tanahashi accidentally took the ref out. Jericho hit a low blow and used his weight belt as a weapon. Tana responded with his own low blow. Jericho traded a bulldog, but Tanahashi sent him feet first into the barricade, or into the buckle, and then hit a somersault senton for a 2. Jericho hit a back elbow, teased a lion salt, and got pushed off the top to the floor. Tanahashi hit a high fly flow to a standing Jericho onto the floor. Jericho tried to climb back inside, and Tanahashi hit a dragon screw and 2 drop kicks to Jericho's leg. Jericho ducked a sling blade attempt and tried a code breaker. Tanahashi blocked and hit a dragon screw, then an inverted dragon screw. Tanahashi went for a high fly flow at the 15-minute mark of this match, but Jericho got his knees up. Jericho actually reversed or countered a high fly flow into a code breaker. Jericho then hit a lion salt for a 2. Jericho tried the Judas effect, but Tanahashi blocked it into a straight jacket German suplex into a bridge for a near fall. Tanahashi hit the ropes, but ran into a lion tamer. After a long tease, Tana fought out of the hold and hit the GTR. Tanahashi went for a high fly flow, but jumped right into a code breaker here again. Jericho recovered, but only got a 2. Tanahashi then hit a very stiff-looking code breaker. I thought Jericho could have broke his nose here. I think this is where Jericho busted his mouth, because Tanahashi grabs him for this code breaker, but he pulls Jericho's head into his knees, and Tanahashi takes a stiff flat back bump. Jericho comes crashing down onto him. I think this may have been where Jericho busted himself a little, got bleeding from the mouth. Tanahashi tried a sling blade, but Jericho blocked it tried to go for a lion tamer. Tana blocked that and used an inside cradle for a 2. Tanahashi then hit the twist and shout, and then a sling blade, but only got a 2 off of it. Tanahashi went to the top and hit a high fly flow. Jericho rolled through on the landing and slapped on a lion tamer. This is when you first finally see that Jericho's bleeding. Again, there was no other spot other than that code breaker where I think he could have got a little busted. Jericho switched the normal lion tamer into a high angle version, racked on that hold, and finally Tanahashi had no choice but to tap out. That was a very good match. Not quite great. Almost not as... I don't want to say it wasn't as good as I expected, because it was really good. But it was just could have been better. I mean, any match, to be honest, could be better. There's very little matches in history. I know the last Okada Omega match probably couldn't have been any better than it was. The Okada Omega Tokyo Dome match probably couldn't have been better than it was. But there's very little matches in history that you can say, oh, that couldn't have been better. So saying that this match could have been better is kind of like a non-thing, a moot point, because every match almost can be better. So let me move on to the main event. the double gold dash, as they were calling it, the IWGP Heavyweight and the IWGP Intercontinental Championships on the line. Kazuchika Okada, Tetsuya Naito. So last night, Naito's thing was that his knee. Jay White worked over that knee the entire match. His knee got wrecked. A lot of times he couldn't put weight on the knee. And Okada learned. Okada watched, Okada studied, Okada knew. Go after the knee. So they went about 2.5 minutes before they even touched. They were milking the crowd. The referee would do the whole thing where he was standing between the two guys and he'd go, and the crowd would chant for Naito, and then he'd go, oh. Crowd would chant for Okada, then he'd go, I'm feeling the crowd, and he'd go like this, and then Naito, 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 Naito. Crowd was for Naito. And Naito, the biggest baby face in the company, LIJ, you would think they're supposed to be heels. Naito ain't no fucking heel. Naito is the most popular guy in the company, number one merch seller in the company, probably one of the better promos in the company. And the crowd, they know it and they love it. So they lock up, and Okada broke cleanly against the ropes. A lightning quick sequence of ducking clotheslines and drop downs ended up with a back elbow from Okada. Okada hit a DDT for a 2. Okada then hit a scoop slam and a slingshot senton. Okada used a chin lock. You can see Okada reading the room here. And Okada kind of changes up his style, going and working as the heel. Because when you think about this, the crowd is just, I want to say 95% for Tetsuya Naito. Okada realizes that. And so he says, you know what? I'm going to work the heel. I'm going to be the heel in this match. He can be the babyface. And we see that no more evident than when they start wrestling on the outside. And when Naito first has to start selling that knee. So Okada hit a sliding kick. Naito answered with an arm drag. Then a basement drop kick. Naito hit a combination carbon into the corner. Naito blocked a kick, swept the leg, and hit a neck breaker off the apron to the floor. Back in the ring, Naito hit another neck breaker. They used a crucifix hold. Okada reached the ropes to make the break. Naito was slow on the break, though. Red shoes, counting the 1, 2, 3, 4, break it. Naito hit a back elbow strike to the neck in the corner. Followed that up with another elbow to the back. Naito used a cravat. Okada came back with a running boot. And then Okada just nonchalantly just kips up. Probably better than any kip up you ever seen. Naito hits the ropes, but Okada hit a flapjack. Naito blocked a big boot and then blocked an air raid crash. Okada rolled through, reset his grip, and hit an air raid crash. Okada hit a slam and a top rope elbow. He then hit his Rainmaker pose. Naito blocked a Rainmaker attempt with a series of back elbows to the neck. Okada ducked an elbow and hit the ropes. He then ran into a pop-up spinebuster from Naito. Naito then hit a top rope Frankensteiner. Naito teased Gloria, but Okada fought it off. Naito hit a big right hand. Okada answered with a woo drop kick. Naito got a boot up off the charge in the corner. Okada drop kicked Naito off the top to the floor on the outside. Okada dropped Naito's knee right on the floor and really started working over the knee, and really from here on started working as a heel. When he started targeting that knee of Naito. Because you could say, oh, babyfaces target a specific body part, but the way that Naito was targeting the knee, and not Naito, but Okada was targeting the knee, and the things that he did to hurt that knee further are heelish things. So at first, Naito was selling his knee. Okada clears off the announce table, hits a chop block against the fence, and then he dropped Naito knee first onto the table. You're not going to see a babyface doing stuff like that. Naito was trying to get back into the ring. At one point, he tried to stand up at 16, 17. Could barely put any weight on his left leg. Finally, the referee's counting 18, 19, and he jolts back into the ring. Okada hit a missile dropkick for a near fall. Okada then hit a German. Naito ducked a Rainmaker, then hit a Tornado DDT. Naito hit Gloria, and then placed Okada on the second rope. Naito climbed to the top rope and hit a Poison Rana for a near fall. You heard me right. Poison Rana off the top rope. I thought freaking Okada could have broke his neck here. Naito hit an Enziguri. Okada blocked a flying forearm. Naito blocked a Rainmaker. Okada then blocked a Destino. Naito hit a flying forearm. Okada escaped a Destino attempt, and Naito hit a rolling capo kick. Okada hit a drop kick, and Naito no-sold it. Naito then hit a Destino for a near fall. Naito missed another Destino attempt. He ducked a Rainmaker, but Okada nailed him with a drop kick instead, just solid right on the cheek. They traded strikes from their knees here. Both men were smiling as they exchanged the shots, and the crowd's going nuts. They climb to their feet slowly as they're still hitting each other with just forearms and elbows and punches. And then finally, Naito kind of can't get to his feet. His knees bugging him again. So what does he do to try to stop the offense of Okada? He spits right in his face. Big ol' loogie. They continued to trade some forearms, and Naito ducked a Rainmaker and hit a slap right across Okada's face. Okada escaped a Valentina attempt and hit her spinning Rainmaker. Naito ducked another Rainmaker and tried for Gloria, but Okada turned it into a tombstone. Okada hit a Rainmaker. 1, 2, 3. Nope, Naito kicks out. Last second. Also, refs were better at their cadence tonight. I'm just going to say that. Okada then called for the sit-out tombstone. Naito slid out the back, but collapsed on the mat as when he got finally free, it seemed like he landed wrong on the knee. Naito again spit in Okada's face. Okada then drove Naito's knee into the mat consecutively over and over and over, and the crowd was not liking this. Okada was just like, I'm going to destroy your goddamn knee. Okada then hits another Rainmaker, but he kept wrist control. Okada lifts up Naito and hits another Rainmaker. He went for a third one in a row. Naito ducked and hit a Destino. Naito then sold his knee on the landing, and he couldn't really quite make the cover in time. He finally crawls over for the cover, and Okada kicks out of 2. Naito then hits a scoop slam. He went to the top, and Naito hit a Stardust press. Okada kicks out, though. Naito then went for a Destino. Okada blocks it. Naito hit the Valentina. Naito then hits another Destino out of nowhere, covers Okada, pins Okada, and becomes the double gold champion. So Naito's got both belts. Naito is now the champion. He cuts a promo afterwards. He said winning in the main event of the Tokyo Dome feels good. As Okada was helped to the back, Naito said that maybe we do this again. Okada raised his fist up in the air and tried to walk to the back under his own power. So they were waiting to present Naito his belts. They wanted to let him do his promo, his little speech, and then they would give him the titles. So Naito was presented both belts. He posed as his music played, and he addressed the crowd. He said, everyone there and everyone watching around the world, he's flipped the script. He said he'll never forget this weekend, and he'll step into the future with 2 belts. He said this is the first time in the Tokyo Dome. So he listed off the members of LIJ. As he was finishing up his speech, though, Kenta would jump in the ring and attack the champion. Yes, Kenta, the former... What was his fucking name in WWE? My mind just went blank. Holy crap. My mind just went completely blank. What was his name in WWE? Let me know in the chat. So Kenta jumps in the ring, hits a forearm strike, a PK, and a go to sleep. Just leaves the champ laying. He then literally sits on the chest and head of Naito. And he does the Shibata spot where he sits down and crosses his feet, grabs both belts, holds them up, looks at him, and just throws them back down. This was done phenomenally. Bushi runs in as Kenta was getting out of the ring. Kenta bailed. The crowd is just booing furiously. Hideo Itami, that's it. Kenta is trying to leave through the crowd or whatnot. You know, the way they had everybody leave off the secondary way. Crowd is just furious. Booing. You can see when he's walking off, people yelling at him. Crowds, the announcers trying to put it over like that they can't get Kenta out of here fast enough because the crowd's going to revolt and attack him. And so Bushi helps Naito out of the ring, helps Naito to the back as the show goes off the air. And I thought, so Kenta, or Hideo Itami, was in WWE for about 5 years. In those 5 years, he spent a lot of that on the shelf. At least half of it, I want to say. Almost half, if not at least half. And WWE never gave him a fair shake. I don't know if it was because they thought he was injury prone, because, he had the shoulder injury, had shoulder surgery, he wasn't rehabbing well, needed another surgery, came back, got hurt again, and then they tried to use him on the main roster on the 205 Live, and he did okay there, but it never really flourished and went anywhere. But since coming to New Japan, he has been on a goddamn mission to basically say that those 5 years of my career in WWE will not define or diminish my entire career, the legacy of Kenta. Since coming to New Japan, he has killed it. He's had great matches. He had a great G1. He's won a championship. He's part of Bullet Club. I mean, he's just, I don't want to say done everything because there's more he can do, but he's just really shown that circumstances probably beyond his control and sort of a little bit WWE's control because of the injuries. He's better than what many people think he is. Because, sorry, I got an itch here. A lot of fans in the United States probably didn't know who he was before he came to WWE. When he came in, I mean, they had big plans for him in WWE. They had Hulk Hogan go to Japan and do like a quote-unquote press conference to sign him. He was supposed to be what Finn Balor became in NXT. If you remember at WrestleMania 31, they did a tournament at WrestleMania Access for one NXT wrestler to get entered into the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. He won that. He beat Finn Balor in the finals of that tournament to win that spot. He goes on, he's wrestling on the main card, main roster. He was earmarked to win the NXT Championship in Japan. He gets hurt, so what do? They slide in Finn Balor. Finn Balor ends up having a phenomenal run as NXT Champion. I mean, hey, to each their own. One man's displeasure, one man's unfortunateness is another man's thrive, if that's what you want to say. I don't even know if that's a real thing. And so, everything, they had big plans for him in WWE. They thought that he was going to be this great WWE superstar, but it never came to fruition. He came to New Japan. They had a year-long storyline basically for him as soon as he came in. Because what happened when he came in, the first thing we saw was he was with Shibata. Then, over a few months, he turned on Shibata. And that turned into him joining Bullet Club, which turned into him feuding with Goto, which turned into him and Goto tonight at Wrestle Kingdom. So, I want to say like the 8 months that he has been in New Japan, he's just been killing it. And I know I should be talking about Naito and Naito's big night, but to be honest, I'm more excited to see where Kenta goes from here than where Naito goes from here. I don't think Naito beats Kenta. I don't think Kenta beats Naito with titles on the line or anything. But just to see that the last 5 years have been hard on him. It didn't go the way that anybody thought that it was going to go. He left. He got out of that company. He got out, I guess, early. I don't know how early, but he got out of there. Went to New Japan and has flourished. But overall, I thought both nights of the Wrestle Kingdom shows were just phenomenal shows. You can kind of tell that a lot of these guys were were tired and hurting after night 1 going into night 2. And if I'm going to say it, if I'm going to say my match of the weekend, it was Okada Ibushi. A lot of people are saying Okada Naito, but for me, Okada Ibushi. I felt like the 4 best matches were, in fourth was Naito and Jay White. Then we had Okada and Naito, Hiromu Takahashi and Will Ospreay, and then my match of the weekend, Okada Ibushi. I would rank those 4 as the best 4. So we'll see what happens. This person here says in the text messages, do you think Naito will win? What? Oh, this is from yesterday. Sorry, I'm reading the wrong text message. So we got a text message here asking about if New Japan will overwork the AEW, and I have no goddamn clue. Because right now, no. Right now, just because they were allowed to say that a title shot for the AEW World title was on the line tonight, that meant shit. It meant absolutely goddamn nothing. Want to know why? Because Jericho, who got this approved by Tony Khan, was told, yeah, sure, you can say that a shot at our titles on the line, but I don't want it mentioned on anything AEW. Tony Khan did not want Jericho working for New Japan mentioned on their show, a title shot on the line mentioned on their show. That's why they did the segment the way they did on Wednesday's Dynamite. They made it seem like Jericho was there, but out in the parking lot. Because they don't want to have a working relationship with New Japan. And to be honest, from what I've heard, New Japan President Harold May doesn't want to talk to them. There's bad blood on both sides. I mean, they felt that things were going one way with, the Bucks and Omega and all of them, and then they just said, we're leaving. We're done. And I think the issue here, because apparently New Japan has threatened legal action towards AEW. Now, I don't know if this is the case, and I'm not going to try to speculate too much here without knowing, but if you think about it, Tony Khan was talking to Omega and the Young Bucks. Now, I don't think Cody ever had an actual contract with New Japan, so he doesn't really factor into this. It still could maybe factor in with Ring of Honor stuff, but Tony Khan was talking with Omega and the Young Bucks well before any of them were free agents. Take that how you may. But knowing that legal action was threatened and taking that into consideration as far as how long Tony Khan was talking to all of them about starting a new company and wanting them to help him run it. I'm not going to use any keywords here because I don't know if it's true. But I think somebody may have done something a little illegal. Just saying. So as of right now, a working relationship between AEW and New Japan? Hell no. But with that, I want to say thank you to everybody who did join me here live to talk about tonight's Wrestle Kingdom. We will be live again tomorrow night following New Year's Dash. Let me see exactly what time that show starts, just so I can give you guys a rough estimate on when we could be live. Let me go, where's the Fight TV app? I go to Fight TV. New Year's Dash. New Year's Dash starts at... Whoa. We may not be live after New Year's Dash. New Year's Dash starts at 1:30 a.m. Pacific time. I'm not sure exactly how long the show's going to go. But if the show goes any more than 4 hours, if it starts at 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, I'm not going to have time to go live because I gotta wake my kids up at 6, get them ready for school. So we'll see. We'll play it by ear. on exactly how we're going to recap New Year's Dash. Maybe I'll just do a pre-recorded video talking about the highlights of the show and if any big angles happen. So we may not have a live podcast after New Year's Dash. I'm going to have to play that by ear. But with that, I want to say thank you guys for joining me here tonight. Thank you guys for joining me all weekend. Thank you guys. We will be back live again for sure, at least after Raw this week. So have a good night. Get some rest. Have a good morning wherever you're at. And I'll see you again. Maybe tomorrow. Or maybe Monday night after Raw.